In a distant galaxy, Caleb, the only human at Andromeda Station University, stumbles into a forbidden connection with Trinity, a stunning Zelian. As intergalactic prejudices loom, their bond challenges societal norms, pushing the boundaries of love. Can they overcome the universe's expectations, or will their hearts lead to uncharted dilemmas? What sacrifices are worth the price of love? Don't forget to subscribe. 91% of viewers enjoy our content but forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our daily sci-fi stories and support a dedicated team of storytellers and content creators who rely on this as their livelihood. Caleb dashed through the shimmering corridors of Andromeda Station University, his heart pounding like a warp drive in overdrive. The walls were adorned with luminous panels that pulsed in shades of violet and blue, reflecting the diverse cultures of the Federation that surrounded him. Each step echoed in the spacious hallway, reminding him of the vibrant life that thrived in this hub of intergalactic scholarship. He could already hear the faint murmur of students from various species gathered in the biolab, all eyes likely glued to the mesmerizing Zelian volunteer, Trinity. As he entered the lab, his hands trembled and anxiety swirled within him. "I can't believe I'm late again," he muttered under his breath, chiding himself for mismanaging his time. He had a tendency to lose himself in thoughts about his studies or distractions that were strictly forbidden in his mind, thoughts of her. Just then, he caught sight of her. Trinity stood poised at the front of the room, her striking azure skin shimmering under the fluorescent lab lights. Her long, flowing hair, like strands of liquid silver, framed her delicate features in a way that made her seem almost ethereal. Is this where the class is?" he stuttered, his voice cracking like a child's amidst the crowd. The moment she turned to face him, a wave of emotion surged through him. It was a mix of awe and nervousness that left him momentarily speechless. Trinity was not just stunning, she exuded an aura of gentle confidence, making it clear she belonged in the center of attention. "It is now," she replied with a friendly smile, her voice like music from a distant star, soothing yet electric. In that instant, Caleb realized that, despite all odds, he wanted to know more about her, and not just academically. The classroom was alive with curious gazes, the atmosphere thick with a mix of intrigue and skepticism. Caleb's fellow students included a kaleidoscope of sentient beings. Darians with their spiny exoskeletons and luminescent, darting eyes, and Nashians with their eyeless, gelatinous forms, who observed the world through a psychic network rather than sight. Each creature had its own language, culture, and prejudices, and in this context, Caleb's humanity often felt like a heavy anchor. As they proceeded with their research project, delving into the cellular biology of the Zelians, Caleb couldn't help but admire Trinity's intellect and poise. She was a beacon of knowledge, her understanding of alien physiology far surpassed his own. They spent hours in the lab, examining samples, cataloging data, and unraveling the mysteries of their species while navigating the uncharted waters of their friendship. The virtual screens surrounding them flickered with graphs and holograms, displaying the stunning intricacies of genetic markers and energy emissions. One afternoon, as the two stood shoulder to shoulder, their fingers brushed against each other while reaching for the same vial of bioluminescent gel. The spark of contact sent jolts of electricity through Caleb's veins, prompting a blush to creep up his cheeks. He stole a glance at her, half expecting the boundless joy she radiated to falter, but instead, she merely smiled, an enigmatic expression passing between them. It felt both exhilarating and terrifying. But as the weeks wore on, Caleb couldn't shake the feeling that something loomed just beyond the horizon, waiting to undermine their fragile connection. The flow of time through Andromeda Station was different, elastic, almost languid, as weeks unfurled like the petals of a blossoming nebula. Inside the biolab, Caleb and Trinity worked side by side, their partnership deepening with every hour spent under the synthetic stars painted on the ceiling tiles. The lab was a vibrant universe of its own, filled with swirling lenses and bioluminescent specimens that deflected light in a spectrum of colors, eerily similar to the feelings spiraling within Caleb's chest whenever Trinity brushed past him. A gentle, electric jolt that resonated deep within him. Yet, even as they immersed themselves in the intricate workings of Zelian biology, an astonishing study of energy synchronization and biological compatibility, an undercurrent of tension buzzed between them. Caleb couldn't ignore the whispers echoing through the station, swirling like cosmic debris that threatened to suffocate their blossoming bond. Dark and unwelcome rumors seeped through the station like plasma leaks, telling tales of forbidden unions that could lead to social upheaval. One afternoon, as golden light filtered through the lab window, Caleb caught a fleeting glimpse of Trinity's delicate, iridescent hands as she gestured animatedly, explaining the Zelian bioluminescence that served as both communication and attraction mechanism among her people. Our skin is an extension of our emotions, she indicated, her azure complexion flickering in shades of deeper blue and soft green, an unintentional reflection of her feelings. It translates our feelings into light, and that's why it's vital to my people to be in harmony with those we share ourselves with, she stated, her voice confidently melodic yet laced with underlying concern. But what about me? He interjected, his heart pounding. What happens when we can't share that harmony? When our worlds, our histories, clash? You realize the ramifications, right? Her laughter chimed like silvery bell chimes. You care too much about what others think, Caleb. Just because we come from different worlds doesn't mean we can't create our own symphony, she replied. Yet he sensed the flicker of doubt in her eyes, a reflection of the concerns that each glance in the corridors reaffirmed. Days passed, and tension thickened like a cosmic fog as an increasing number of students began to notice their partnership. Caleb tried to cast aside the malicious murmurs, but one afternoon, while he waited in the bustling cafeteria, he overheard a disheartening comment from a group seated across the room. Did you see them? A human and a Zelian? It's unnatural, one student snorted disdainfully. Another chimed in, he should know to stay away, the Zelian culture is too advanced for him. The words felt like daggers, tearing at the fragile skin of their relationship, yet their echoes clawed relentlessly at the walls of his heart, reminding him of the burdens he bore not only as a human but as an individual bound by fear and social stigmas. Just as Caleb's self-doubt began to manifest into dark thoughts, he felt a warm grip on his shoulder. Caleb? Trinity's voice cut through the clamor, softening the budding panic that grew within him. Are you all right? There was a gentle concern etched into her features, those brilliant cerulean eyes shining with understanding, yet also reflecting a sadness he wished he could dispel. I'm just processing things, he mumbled, the words heavy on his tongue, unsure if he could elaborate on the weight of societal prejudices that pressed down on his soul. Trinity's expression shifted, a mixture of frustration and empathy curving her mouth into a frown. You need to let go of these fears, Caleb. Love knows no boundaries. It can transcend any gap, she said, an unshakable belief reverberating beneath her words. But those radiating moments of connection were fleeting. Caleb could feel the gaze of their peers, judging, dissecting every move they made. Each laugh shared transformed into a low whisper in the back of his mind, tugging at the edges of his soul. What if I lose you? He asked finally, a question that lingered heavy between them. Trinity let out a soft sigh, as if the air had vibrated with unspoken worries. In a galaxy so vast, fear of separation is paralyzing. But it is also what keeps us together, knowing what it feels like to battle against the current. Would you rather let those currents dictate our path? As they stood close, a beacon flickered within the stormy seas of their emotions, challenging the enormity of adversity that threatened to engulf them. He thought of their shared laughter, the playful quips that danced between them like celestial fireflies, weaving a tapestry of connection against the cosmic emptiness surrounding them. When night fell upon the station, the corridor lights fed through windows like distant stars, illuminating the biolab in a serene glow. Caleb stared out at the luminous nebulae beyond, pondering the potential of the unknown, a vivid reminder of the possibilities intertwined with uncertainty. "We should take a leap, Trinity," he murmured, turning back to face her luminous presence. "Leap together." Yet those words felt fragile, as void as the silence that echoed between them. The cosmos stretched out before him, a vast expanse that cradled both dreams and fears. Their bond felt tenuous, woven from strands of hope and fear, but elsewhere, shadows loomed. As the stars twinkled, rebellious emotions swirled, and the utterance of their desire to forge ahead echoed hollowly against the intimate confessions of their hearts. "Lovers dive together or drown apart," she offered gently, but Caleb sensed that even the brave words hung heavy on her own lips. As he stepped closer, reality tugged at them. Conflicting forces loomed like meteors on collision courses. The path ahead remained uncertain, shrouded in doubts. Uncharted territories that bordered on the surreal may soon shatter the barriers holding them together. Caleb retreated to his quarters later that night, staring out at the thrillingly chaotic dance of distant stars. The universe thrived with unpredictability, yet within him, a whirlwind of questions precipitated. Together or apart, love may indeed defy boundaries, but he couldn't shake the chill of doubt creeping in. The currents were shifting, and something dark seemed to lurk just beyond the veil of their radiant connection. Then came an unexpected knock on his door, a rattle that felt like gravity shifting. It wouldn't be Trinity, not at this hour. Her soft, soothing presence was an anchor against the chaos, not a herald of what he anticipated next. With a hesitant gait, he opened the door, anticipation wedged tightly in his throat, only to find a familiar face. Raxel, a fellow human with an intensity in his gaze that churned unease in Caleb's gut. As the semester progressed, the complexity of Caleb and Trinity's relationship flourished in both intimacy and misunderstanding. Late into the night, they exchanged stories, laughter, and their deepest fears. Their conversations often drifted to their respective worlds. Caleb's human heritage, filled with its own histories and prejudices, and Trinity's Zelian origins, rich with vibrant customs and unyielding societal norms. One fateful evening, as they studied under the brilliance of Andromeda's twin moons, casting ethereal shadows on their surroundings, a misunderstanding arose. Every shadow seemed to carry an implication. The air was charged with unspoken words, tension thick enough to slice with a plasma knife. "Why are you so distant, Caleb?" Trinity's voice cut through the quiet like a laser beam dissecting the darkness. Her cobalt skin, normally radiating warmth, seemed to dim under the weight of their conversation. "I thought we were figuring this out together. I am not distant, but perhaps our worlds are," he countered, frustration creeping into his voice. "How can we ever be truly together when the universe seems to conspire against us?" His gaze dropped to the smooth, metallic floor beneath them, now interspersed with flecks of lunar light. She looked away, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "It's not just galaxies that separate us. You need to face your fears, Caleb. I refuse to rush this, it has to be meaningful." But just then, someone entered, a Zelian classmate with striking features and an air of regal authority, reflecting his species' natural litheness and grace. His piercing emerald eyes, filled with a mix of curiosity and caution, bore down on their fragile moment. The creature's name was Xylar, an acclaimed scholar whose reputation for critical analysis and unwavering belief in Zelian traditions was well known across Andromeda Station. As he approached, the air grew thick with unspoken judgment. "Am I interrupting something?" Xylar's tone was nonchalant, yet the weight of his presence commanded immediate attention. Caleb felt Trinity stiffen and instinctively stepped back, her vibrant aura dimming even further. "No, we were just," Caleb began, but Trinity shot him a look that silenced him. "Just discussing the variability of our ecosystems," she recovered, her voice a fragile mask over the unease settling like dust on a forgotten shelf. Xylar merely nodded, but Caleb could sense the smoldering scrutiny behind his cool facade. "You know, our cultures have long viewed interspecies relationships with skepticism. It is not merely a question of compatibility, but the integrity of our legacies." His words dripped with a hint of disdain, the respective nuances of human and Zelian histories unfurling mockingly between them. Trinity clenched her jaw, the tension pregnant with unspoken vows yet to be completed, veering towards incompleteness. "Our legacies should evolve, Xylar. Isn't love one of the highest forms of evolution?" Her tone was defiant, spurred by a protective instinct for the bond she felt with Caleb. "But is it love, Trinity, or merely an act of rebellion?" Xylar challenged, his emerald gaze piercing through the facade. "We have a responsibility, to our ancestors, to our people, to our future." His accusation hung heavy in the air, igniting the remnants of doubt inside Caleb. Every flicker of the station's lights above felt like a strobe illuminating a hidden truth, leaving him momentarily paralyzed in the wake of its implications. "Xylar, Caleb began, his voice cracking like ice underfoot, but Trinity interrupted him this time. "No, Xylar, this is my choice," she declared, power resonating through her as if to push back against the cosmic forces opposing them. "And if I want to share this journey, why should anyone else dictate what it means to us?" With that, the atmosphere thickened and Xylar's expression hardened, as if caught in a tempest of unfamiliar emotions. Caleb watched closely. He saw the irritation flickering in Xylar's eyes, behind which lay an unseen concern for his friends standing within her own community. "To bear the burden of both worlds is a weight not many can carry, Trinity. You stand at the crossroads, and I only wish for you to be aware," he stated softly, but with a lingering air of finality. With a shared glance that fell between vulnerability and resilience, Trinity and Caleb understood the implications of what was being offered. A chance to define themselves in a cosmos that thrummed with judgment and division. The silence that ensued felt like passing stars beyond a veil of darkness, fleeting yet unyielding. As Xylar turned to leave, Caleb hesitated. He felt an obligation to respond but found himself without the right words. "What if we want to make a difference?" he asked instead, defiance sparking in his chest. Xylar didn't look back. "Revolution begins with acknowledgement, Caleb. Yet there is no guarantee of acceptance." The door sealed shut with a surge of energy that resonated through the chamber, leaving just Caleb and Trinity in an increasingly complicated space delineated by the echoes of their strained resolve. Trinity took a deep breath, the colors on her skin shifting hues under the fluorescent light, reflecting her inner turmoil. I don't want to lose you, Caleb." Her voice trembled, revealing the cracks in her veneer of confidence. "I'm not going anywhere," he promised, though uncertainty lingered in every syllable. "But how can we fight against our worlds?" Trinity stepped closer, their hands brushing in tentative acknowledgement. "By living, wholeheartedly, in truth," she replied, her voice a whisper now, laced with determination. "Whatever that truth is." They leaned in, their foreheads touching, each heartbeat reverberating in the silence of the room. In that intimate space, the shadows of doubt felt insurmountable yet brimming with potential energy, waiting for the spark of bravery. As they pulled away, their expressions transformed from confusion to resolve. Together, they would confront the navigational elusiveness of their existence. But just as they reached for the next chapter, a low rumble vibrated beneath them, an echo of something far more troubling than their personal battles, a harbinger of an impending storm. A sudden alarm blared through the station, spewing forth electrifying chaos. Crimson lights bathed the corridor in panic. Instantly, the environment shifted around them, transforming their previously intimate moment into a battleground of uncertainty, a poignant reminder that merely understanding their inner worlds would never guarantee their survival in a galaxy teeming with danger. "What's happening?" Caleb shouted above the cacophony, his heart racing. Trinity's brows knitted in fear. At the heart of Andromeda Station's vibrant culture, the approaching festival of fertility loomed large, a kaleidoscope of sights, sounds, and interspecies connections that twinkled like stars in the dark. The festival was a time of celebration in which each species showcased their unique traditions, beliefs, and rich heritage. Laughter and music wafted through the air, the tantalizing scent of exotic spices rising from the stalls that sprawled across the station's central plaza. Banners of swirling colors fluttered like the wings of the myriad of creatures that called this galaxy home. Yet, amidst the celebrations, Caleb sat quietly on a bench, his heart in a tumultuous dance of uncertainty. Each pulse echoed louder than the festivities around him as he ran a hand through his tousled hair. This was not just a cultural celebration. It felt like a high-stakes test of interpersonal dynamics, especially for him, the lone human amidst a sea of diverse beings, and the complex tapestry of his feelings for Trinity. "Caleb," came Trinity's enthusiastic voice, pulling him from his reverie. She emerged from the throng, the sunlight catching the iridescent paint she adorned herself with, an intricate design of swirling motifs that told tales of her heritage. The vibrant colors shimmered against her azure skin, transforming her into a living embodiment of Zelian culture. "Will you attend with me?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. He hesitated. The electric atmosphere surrounding him felt both thrilling and isolating. People dressed in vibrant robes, adorned with ornaments and glimmering devices, moved with grace and purpose, a reminder that he was fundamentally different. What will people think? A human at the festival? The unrelenting question slipped out before he could suppress it. Trinity's sunshine demeanor dimmed slightly. "You said love conquers all, didn't you?" Her voice, once full of laughter, now bore an edge of disappointment. The gravity of her gaze seemed to search his soul, laying bare his uncertainty against her unwavering optimism. Caleb felt his heart twist. "I want to be there with you," he admitted, the words heavy with meaning. "But I fear being an outsider, someone who doesn't belong in this world, a bridge forever too narrow to cross." The honesty between them teetered on the brink of vulnerability. Trinity stepped closer, her presence radiant and grounding. "Love isn't without its challenges, Caleb. We can't let fear deter us. This festival isn't just for Zelian, it's for every being who embraces life. It's about fertility, creativity, rebirth, and connection among all species. You mean the world to me, and I want to share this with you." With a deep breath, he took hold of her hand, warm and steady, the connection igniting a spark within him. "No matter what happens, I choose you, Trinity," he declared, a resolute expression in his eyes. The moment felt monumental, encapsulated in pure emotion, a fleeting escape from the world around them. But just as he felt the warmth of acceptance, a deafening explosion shattered the air. A burst of violent light erupted above their heads, fracturing the joyous murmur of the crowd into chaos. Caleb instinctively shielded Trinity, adrenaline surging through his veins. The vibrant colors of the festival morphed into panic, confusion reigniting the uncertainty that had gripped him moments prior. The cacophony of sounds transformed from raucous laughter to desperate shouts as smoke billowed, obscuring visions of merriment. "What was that?" Trinity cried, eyes widening in disbelief. Caleb turned his gaze upwards, where the once glimmering banners now fluttered like wounded birds. He scanned the horizon. The source of the disturbance became evident as debris cascaded down like a meteor shower. An opulent glider, adorned with jewels reflecting the myriad of emotions present in the throng, spiraled out of control, its engines sputtering like a dying star. Through the haze of anxiety and pain, the pair bolted towards the nearest shelter, weaving through panicking crowds, their hearts racing in sync. The slam of doors being shut echoed in their ears. Caleb's mind surged with thoughts of safety, the world fading around them. Would this chaos disrupt their connection forever? Once in the shelter, a group of terrified attendees bustled through the narrow entrance, faces painted with fear. An elder Zelian in elaborate ceremonial garb steered Caleb and Trinity against the wall, a protective instinct etched into the lines of his face. "Stay calm, we will figure this out." The authoritative voice rang with the weight of experience, compelling all to listen as he surveyed the fractured scene outside. "Where did that glider come from? Is this an attack?" Trinity voiced, a tremor in her tone matching the urgency of the moment. "We must assess the situation," the elder replied, his pointed ears twitching as he listened to the sounds of chaos outside. "Let's hope this was an accident and not a sabotage. We continue with the festival not just to celebrate, but to remember the unity we all share across species." Trinity turned to Caleb, a flicker of gravity in her eyes that mirrored his own concerns. "You know we must rally the others. Let our presence be a testament against fear. If we continue to let them divide us, we will lose everything we've fought for." Caleb felt a surge of adrenaline. The fire of their connection felt stronger than ever in this moment of uncertainty. "You're right. This is the time for us to show resilience, to demonstrate the unity we believe in." When the doors finally creaked open, the shelter turned into a safe ground for resolve. The chaos outside gave way to moments of trembling silence as the survivors gathered themselves, horrified but determined. Caleb led Trinity into the fray, their fingers intertwined, a silent vow of courage amidst calamity. They stepped onto the festival grounds, the atmosphere still charged with questions and unshed emotions. The elder Zelian raised his arms, calling for attention. "We will stand together." His voice rang, resonating off the vibrant walls of Andromeda. "Let not fear dim our spirits." Caleb felt his heart beating in tandem with the crowd. As he and Trinity stood side by side, every being from different worlds reached for one another, resulting in a symphony of voices that doused the flames of fear with the waters of unity. It was then, under the swirls of starlit skies and heightened emotions, that Caleb realized they had a mission that extended beyond personal desires. The journeys of each individual cradled the fabric of existence, and by standing together amidst adversity, they became part of something greater, the very essence of the festival of fertility itself. But just as he opened his mouth to echo the sentiments of solidarity, the ground trembled, reverberating beneath their feet. An unnerving sound, a low growl, like a beast awakening. The light of the explosion that had torn through the festival of fertility faded, leaving only lingering echoes of crackling energy in the air. The colors that had once danced playfully around the revelers transformed into shadows, creating a stark contrast to the warm glow of unity that Caleb and Trinity had forged moments before. As panic flickered like stale brilliance across the crowd, a swell of uncertainty threatened to envelop them. Caleb's breath quickened as he felt the sudden shift in atmosphere. Multiple expressions of fear and confusion swept through the gathering like a rapid current, feeding the dread that wormed its way into his heart. But as he locked eyes with Trinity, Her resolve shone like a beacon amid the approaching storm. In that fleeting moment, he understood that their connection was a powerful force, one that could fight back against the encroaching darkness. Trinity, he called, rushing to her side as they stepped onto the improvised stage, surrounded by beautifully woven fabrics that reflected the myriad cultures of the festival. We can't let fear dictate our narrative. Exactly. Her voice, steady and reassuring, sent warmth coursing through him. Let's show them who we are. They stood shoulder to shoulder, hearts racing as the murmurs of the crowd sank under the weight of their shared strength. Caleb gripped the microphone tightly, his knuckles turning white as he stared deeply into the sea of diverse faces. We are not just representatives of our species but arbiters of a new possibility, he began, trying to infuse courage into his quivering voice. In this vast universe, we are all bound by our desire for connection. Despite our differences, love remains unyielding. Together, we celebrate not only our cultures but also the ties that bind us, Trinity added, her eloquence captivating the fraction of the crowd that had found solace in her shimmering resolve. We can challenge the norms of our worlds. We can unite and forge something meaningful. Let us show what real love can accomplish. The cacophony of worried whispers gave way to solemn silence as the gravity of their words hung in the air. The vastness of space, their collective tale, seemed to expand with every slow breath, amplifying their connection. For the first time, Caleb felt a glimmer of hope blooming, not just for himself and Trinity, but for those watching. People often say we are defined by our alliances, our backgrounds, and our species, Caleb continued, his eyes glistening with determination. But we are not mere commodities of our origins, we are the authors of our destiny. And we stand here as proof that love transcends all barriers. As he spoke, an old Zelian elder stepped forward from the fringes of the crowd, her skin etched with the tattoos of her ancestors. Caleb remembered the tales he had heard of ancient wisdom intricately woven into the traditions of the Zelian people. She raised her hand, signifying a desire to speak, her voice clear despite her age. In my years, I have witnessed the fracture lines between our peoples grow deeper, she said, her eyes crinkling into gentle wisdom. But what stands here before us is a testament, two souls meeting across infinity. It is time we listen to their story. Caleb and Trinity exchanged glances, a swell of gratitude filling the space between them. The elder's words resonated, their depth echoing the shared sentiment that had been gathering momentum among the festooned revelers. The crowd, stirred by unity, began to shift and murmur in agreement. Trinity leaned in closer to Caleb, her warmth radiating comfort. Perhaps they will truly listen, she whispered, the weight of hope shadowing her voice. Let's show them the beauty of our combined experiences, Caleb replied fervently. They need to see how we exist, how extraordinary love can be when it knows no bounds. As if the universe itself was accommodating their growing connection, the distant stars twinkled in synchronous rhythm, reminding them of the countless worlds beyond their own. Sparkling droplets of hope filled the atmosphere, intertwining with the festival lights to create a mesmerizing display. The elder continued, we must embrace this moment, to celebrate love in all its forms, and to acknowledge the courage of those who dare to break the mold. With her words, the crowd slowly began to echo sentiments of support. Let us embrace this love, someone shouted from the back, the spark igniting a chain reaction of agreement. Together, with newfound strength, the crowd steadily joined in, harmonizing with a chorus that rippled on the energy currents of the festival. Together, as the roar of acceptance surged around them, Caleb and Trinity felt grounded. A firm reminder that the hardships of their love, while immense, paled in comparison to the cosmic fortitude they cultivated together. Each murmured word became a promise, uniting both peoples under the banner of love and acceptance. Filled with passion, Caleb raised his hands, urging the audience to lend their voices. We are the melody of acceptance, resonating through the galaxies. Let this resonate as a moment of unity, a realization that love knows no alien borders and cannot be contained. Trinity clasped her hands around his, her azure glow illuminating the space between them. They pulsed with energy, connected not just to one another but to every soul present, forming a tapestry of emotions, all woven together in that singular moment. Laughter, cheers, and tears entwined into a chorus of acceptance that roared through the festival, a magnificent baptism of hope. Their story became a shared anthem, echoing through the universe. As people joined them on stage, voices towering above, they started to dance under the ethereal lights, their movements celebratory swirls of unity, pushing back against the darkness. The melody of acceptance filled the air with warmth, creating a sanctuary where judgment could not intrude. Caleb paused, feeling the radiating energy vibrate in his chest, a deep-rooted weight lifting as he took in the beauty surrounding him. We've only scratched the surface, he said quietly to Trinity. Together, we can change this galaxy. Yes, we can, she smiled, her eyes bright with infinite possibilities. But love isn't merely the destination. It's the journey, the bond we fashion along the way. We will be the profound ripple that transcends the cosmos. And at that moment, Caleb realized the essence of their story had transformed into something grander than either of them could have imagined. No longer confined to the whispers of relationships hindered by societal norms, their love represented a cosmic bond capable of unraveling barriers and illuminating the darkest corners of the universe. As the festival continued around them, the fluttering of vibrant lights contrasting against the expanse of starry skies, a question lingered in the corners of his mind, reflecting the cosmos' profound possibilities. What other worlds awaited their exploration in the name of love? As their voices resonated well into the night, they understood that their journey had just begun, a quest woven in the fabric of acceptance and defiance that transcended all expectations. Tonight, love not only illuminated the way forward but also formed an inviting path through the stars, forever leading them toward new adventures across the vast canvas of the universe. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.